So growing up, I had, obviously, as you know, such a happy childhood. I was wild, I was crazy, right? I was always pushing things to the limit. I was doing things I should never have been doing. And I definitely didn't feel that I had a religion. I didn't believe in God. I was 100% an atheist. It's just, the topic of, or the thought of being religious never even crossed my mind. I used to look at people who were religious as being crazy, they're backwards. I made very quick judgments about anybody who talked about anything more than this worldly life. To me, that was normal. I never questioned it. There's a lot of things that, many people don't question, even though we know that they're important. I mean, our own death, many of us, right? We don't stop to think about our own death. And, for more than a few seconds, most of us, when we think about our own death, we think about it. It might stop us in our tracks, but then we'll get on with what's obviously a lot more enjoyable and a lot more easier on the soul, you could say. Although that's funny because I didn't ever believe that there was even a thing called a soul. So, as you know, I grew up, I didn't believe in anything. Simple. Then when I was at a party with Simon, when I was about 16, I remember we were drunk, we were smoking, we were doing all types of things we shouldn't have been doing. And he said to me, "Don't you ever think about why we're here?" And I told him, "What on earth are you talking about, man?" He said, "No, why are we here? Just live, die, that's it. There's nothing else to our life. There's no reason for our creation. We're just here to be like everybody else, just make money and die." And I remember clearly saying to him, "If you don't stop talking, you're going to be dying soon, my friend. Just shut up and pass." I asked him to pass me something, and I put that question out of my mind. But the reality is that question did sit in my mind a little bit, not for a long time. I mean, it was not like it was there all of the time at the front of my mind. But the question of why are we here? What's the purpose of our creation? Is there a purpose? That question was, in my subconscious. So when I used to go to the library, I must have been getting on for about 17, doing my exams. I think I had to go and do a revision at St. John's Wood Library, you remember? And when I was there, I looked at the books. They had a religious section. It was right in front of me. You don't know any of this. I'm sure I'm telling you this for the first time, but I used to go and I used to look at those books. I got them down, the Bible, the Torah. They had books, for the Buddhists and the Hindu. They had almost every book. Looking back now, nothing about Islam. But I kind of was looking for an answer. And I didn't find any answers in those books, whether it was because they were written in a very old, Shakespearean style, or just simply there was just way too much theory for me to even, give it more than a few seconds before putting the book back. So I went from believing in nothing to wondering. And wondering caused my mind to look for answers. But I didn't find any answers, but I did become convinced. By about 17 and a half, I was convinced that there was something. And the reason that I was convinced there was something is I didn't see that it was possible that this body, the planet Earth, all of the incredible things that we see. I remember I cut my skin one time, got cut, and then I remember it healed. I remember pondering. I started to really start to look at all of the creation around me. So I stopped kind of looking so much at the, just having fun in the world, but started also to have a little bit of reflection as to, wait, hang on a minute. What do you mean there's something? I remember thinking, what do you mean there's something called a koala bear? What is a koala bear? And I started to, the more I looked at different things, including my own creation, right? My bones, my skin would heal after being cut. A broken nose just going back into place. I became convinced that this creation had to have been created. So at this point in my journey, I believed that there was a creator. And I believed that the creator was full of wisdom, but I didn't understand the creator's wisdom. I was questioning, why do bad things happen in the world? If there's a creator, if there's a God, why doesn't everybody have amazing lives? So I still had a lot of questions, but I was convinced there was a creator, and I believed it would be, I just felt it would be strange to have a creator that wouldn't let us know how they wanted creation to live. So that's for the first time when I was open to the fact that, wait, maybe these previous, like the prophets, the names that I always grew up knowing, like the famous ones, Jesus, Abraham, Moses, Jacob, maybe these were real people, because I'd always thought they were just, fairy tales, basically. That's all I ever thought they were. Fairy tales and stories just out there to enslave people and control people and so on and so forth. But I thought to myself, when you're at school if you're in the school playground, the first day of school, nobody was to tell me what I'm doing there. Why am I here? What's the reason for me being here, right? I'm just in the school playground. What am I going to do all day long? I'm going to play, right? That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to play. I'm going to fall over. I'm going to get into fights. I'm going to have fun. That's all I'm going to do until somebody comes along and tells me, hang on a minute, this is school. There are rules. There's a way to behave. There's a purpose for you being here, right? So I was thinking to myself, I wonder if there are rules to living here. So immediately I thought of the commandments, right? So, all right, 10 commandments, where are they? Oh, we don't have them. Okay, where's the original book sent to Moses? Do we have it? The one given to all of the prophets. If they're real, do we have their message? Oh yeah, we've got it. Here it is. People would show me. So that's in English. I want the original. Oh no, well, we don't, 200 years after this happened and then this happened. And then the same thing happened with the Bible. So where's the original Bible? Oh, it's here. What do you mean? I want to, do we have it in its original language? Because with translation, things change. Basically, I established that there was not a single book that's been given to any of the prophets that I knew of that was still in its original form. So if that's the case, I can't trust a book that's written by a man who died 100, 200 years after the death of that prophet. And that's when I found the Quran. I didn't know anything about the Quran. I didn't know anything about it, what it was. I'd heard the word maybe once or twice. I knew it was something that the Arabs liked. I didn't know anything about it, but I was introduced to it. And when the Quran was introduced to me, that's when my mind got blown. Now, when I found the Quran, I found that this is a book in Arabic. And it is the same book, letter for letter, that was revealed to this man that was born in the Arabian desert more than 1,400 years ago, called Muhammad. Muhammad, I found by historians, not by Muslim historians, but by established historians all throughout the world, credible, verified, authentic information that Muhammad couldn't read and he couldn't write. He was considered from the best of his people, living at a time of complete ignorance where people worshipped everything, literally under the sun and the sun. And he claimed to have received revelation from the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that revelation he claimed when given to him, because he couldn't read or write, he would repeat it to his friends, and later on they would write it down within his lifetime. The same exact book that was compiled, that book is available today. Not only is it available today, it's actually been memorized by millions of Muslims from beginning to end, to the point that when they say it in the prayers in the mosques, if the imam, the person who leads the prayer sermon, if he makes one mistake in one letter, the people behind him will correct him, because so many of them have memorized the entire book. So for me, the moment that I found, wait, there is a book. Nobody, not Jews, Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, nobody denies that this book is the same book that was first given, compiled, collected over 1,400 years ago. Nobody denies that from any of the faiths. They accept, yes, they might disagree with whether it's from God, but nobody disagrees with the fact that, yes, this is the same book. So I said, wait a minute, so we're the only ones who have this? So I started to read it, and from amongst the things that just convinced me was the scientific miracles within the Quran. I couldn't believe that this man, more than 1,400 years ago, was talking about things in real detail that could only be known by scientists and their medical instruments within the last 20, 30 years. Nobody even could imagine that what was in that book over 1,400 years ago was proven true by science today. There are so many things in that book. Now's not the time for me to tell you about them, but what I want to tell you is this. I knew nothing about this book called the Quran. I knew nothing about it. And most people know nothing about it. And most people, when they're told about it, will say, yeah, okay, whatever, it's just a book. But I'm telling you, You owe it to yourself, with all that you've achieved in this world and everything that you know and all of your knowledge about so many things. You owe it to yourself in this life to take a look at the Quran. Don't take my word for it or anyone else's word for it. Don't believe. No, have a look at it yourself. I'll send you something separate about that. Not a video, it's a book that you can dip into. Just 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Spend 5 minutes looking into the Quran. Not listening to anyone else, just you. I'm going to send you something, the miracles of the Quran. Have a look. If you're not convinced, you're not convinced. But why not have a look? Most people won't even have a look. And it makes me so sad, because what I found in there, the spiritual guidance, the answers to every question I had, every aspect of my life, how to live my life, all the questions I had about the previous prophets, they're all there. All the previous prophets are even in the book. It talks about every prophet from the first to the last are in the Quran. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Muslims believe in Jesus and that he's one of the mightiest messengers. I didn't believe that they believed in Jacob and David and Solomon. I didn't know any of that. They do. It's all in the Quran. I didn't know they believed in the Immaculate Conception of Mary, the mother of Jesus. I didn't know any of that. It's all in the Quran. Why? This is the final part that got me. And this is just my personal story, okay? It's just my personal journey that I'm sharing with you. Take it or leave it. But I want you to know it. That's all I want. I want you to know it. All of the other messengers, according to what's in the Quran, all of the other messengers were sent. So that's Jacob and David and Solomon and Ibrahim and Moses and Isaiah, all of them. They were all sent to particular people, particular tribes at different times. And their message and their laws were not meant forever. They were not meant for in 2,000 years' time, in 3,000 years' times. No, the law of Moses was for that time. Okay? The laws of Solomon were there for that time, of Dawood, of Jacob. All of those laws, those messengers were sent, yes, with the same message, but the laws were different according to the time and the people they were sent to. That's why their messages weren't preserved. So then I got the answer to, oh, now I get it. Now I get why the Torah isn't, we can't say it's the original letter by letter that we had from the mouth of Moses. I get it now, why nobody can give us the original Bible, and they can't. I get it. Stop trying. Like, they're not meant to. That was meant for a particular time. But it also explains why the Quran is the only book that is preserved from all of those faiths. Is the only book that is preserved and has stood the test of time. Because the Quran was sent to be the final message for all of mankind. So from the time that Muhammad was made a messenger in his 40s, over 1,400 years ago, his message is timeless. So what's in the Quran then is relevant today, was relevant 100 years ago, 300 years ago, will be relevant forever. Why? Because it's different from the other messages in that it will be preserved. And guess what? That's mentioned in the Quran. There's another miracle that I found in the Quran. It's mentioned. It will be preserved. And it lays down challenges for people it calls on people to find fault with it, to find mistakes in it. It's never been done. I remember when I used to hear a Muslim talk like this years ago. Before I was a Muslim, I used to think you're brainwashed. But was he? He was just saying he has found a book that is not like any other book in this world. And that book is the Quran. And that book, I beg you to read. I beg you to at least take a small part of your life to have a look at it. 5 minutes, 10, whatever. I'm going to send you something to do with that. So in this Quran, I found all the answers. I found all the answers I was looking for. And I realized that all of the messengers that were sent were real messengers. All of their books had not been preserved, but the last messenger, Muhammad, his message had been preserved, the Quran. And that by accepting that there is nothing to worship except God, and that this man, Muhammad, was one of the many messengers sent by God, and this Quran that he brought was for mankind to know how to live their life, to find true happiness, contentment, spiritual peace, material well-being. Everything is inside of this book. And that is why, once I became fully convinced that the Quran had to be from God, had to be from the Creator, and I believe that all of the messengers that were sent, as mentioned in the Quran and the ones that we've always known about, that all of them were messengers of God, and that the final one, who was Muhammad, as mentioned in the Quran, there is no messenger after him, and that's why his message is preserved. The Quran is still here today for us to fact check and look into. Once I believed this in my heart, that's why when I was about 18 and a half at Speaker's Corner that day, I said, I bear witness, meaning I'm stating that I believe there is nothing that should be worshipped except the one creator of the heavens and the earth. And I believe that this messenger, Muhammad, and all of the messengers are servants of God. And I believe that Muhammad is the final messenger of God. That is called the Shahada. It's what you say to become a Muslim. And if you believe what I believe, and I pray that one day you might find peace like me, that's what you say. So let me know if you ever want to say that, because the moment you do is where I believe you find peace and contentment like you've never known before. Like you've never known before. I am happier than anyone could ever imagine. Happier than I was when I did all those drugs, went to all those raves, had all those girlfriends, when my life was just one big fun, bucket of fun. Doesn't even come close to the happiness I feel today. And most importantly, I know that this life is temporary and the life to come is even better. But to enjoy that, it's about doing one thing: stopping, pondering, reflecting, accepting that there is nothing that should be worshipped except God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. That's simple, right? You don't need to deny that. And a belief that all of the prophets were sent by God, including the final one, Muhammad. So to do that, you need to look into his life a little bit, read not all of the Quran, but read some things about the Quran. And I believe if you do that, then you will really be in a wonderful position to decide whether you too see things differently or not. There's no pressure, there's no compulsion. You're not gonna, if you do what I say and you look into it, you're not gonna suddenly wake up in the morning and be a changed person, although you never know. But honestly, I wanted to share this with you. How did I go from believing nothing to calling myself a Muslim? And a Muslim, by the way, in Arabic, just so you know, means one who gives up their will, what they want to do, the things that they might feel to do in their life. The Muslim is the one who submits their will, gives up their will for the will of God. Simple as that. That's why I'm a Muslim. And I hope that you manage to stay with this video until the end. You know how much I love you. I pray for you all the time. And I really look forward to hearing back from you. All right? Love you.